SCO was founded to combat terrorism, separatism, and extremism.
We would particularly caution against any double standards on the matter.
World divided by geopolitics. One visit is turning heads across the global capital. India's Foreign Minister Dr. S.Jaishankar just completed his high-stake diplomatic mission to China, his first since the deadly Galwan clash of 2020. While the West and NATO leaders issue veiled threats warning 500% tariffs on India and China, behind closed doors, discussions on rare earth minerals, economic cooperation, and regional stability are taking shape. Is this the dawn of a new Asia-led world order? Could this visit signal the reset of India-China relations built on mutual interest and peaceful coexistence? Well, everyone knows about the recent S.Jaishankar's visit to China for the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. But this video profoundly and deliberately connects all the dots. One way, the West threatens tariffs hindering our economy, and other way, China sneaking and trying hard to become a global superpower. Also heard something about the rare earth explorations in Rajasthan. Well, global powers watching closely, S.Jaishankar's visit is more than just a foreign trip. It could be a defining moment for India's economic rise, strategic autonomy, and a path towards Viksit Bharat. Stay tuned, because this is not just a diplomacy, it's a geopolitical power play, and you are about to associate the recent events and understand truly what's going on. This is Vibhor. Welcome to theLearned. S.Jaishankar visited China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting. This is a group with 9 countries, mainly from Asia, such as Russia, India, China, Iran, Pakistan too, which actually devalues the group credibility, of course. But recent Indian stance makes this meeting more significant than ever. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S.Jaishankar made this categorically clear that the group motto was to eradicate the terrorism in all forms. His statement was also so important as when earlier our Defense Minister Mr. Rajnath Singh went for the SCO, the committee decided not to mention the Pahalgam terror attack. Rightly, Mr. Rajnath Singh did not sign this hollow and vague document. Fearlessly, Mr. S.Jaishankar mentions this mistake by SCO and condemns this partial standards, as you can see.
The 3 evils that SCO was founded to combat: terrorism, separatism, and extremism. Not surprisingly, they often occur together. Recently, we in India witnessed a graphic example in the terrorist attack in Pahalgam on 22nd April 2025. It was deliberately conducted to undermine the tourism economy of Jammu and Kashmir while sowing a religious divide. The UN Security Council, of which some here are currently members, issued a statement that condemned it in the strongest terms and, quote, underlying the need to hold perpetrators, organizers, financiers, and sponsors of this reprehensible act of terrorism accountable and bring them to justice, unquote. We have since done exactly that and will continue doing so. It is imperative that the SCO, to remain true to its founding objectives, take an uncompromising position on this challenge.
Terror being an important, emphasized section of this meet was not the only issue addressed. Being discussed in my last videos, the talk over rare earth elements or the REEs was inevitable. Some months ago, China has started cuts over the export of rare earth elements. As earlier stated, these 17 rare earth elements are so crucial, from the devices in your pockets to the space rockets, from the EVs to the TVs, the clean energy initiatives like the solar panels, as these are vital for a nation to grow. And the world knows rare earth elements means China, who controls the 60 to 70% of the market stakes, and more importantly 90% of the refining. You must understand that without refining, nothing at all happens. And China has restricted the export of these rare earth elements to India, which is deeply hitting our industries. Surely these were discussed in the S.Jaishankar's meeting. But you may have listened that a recent exploration in Rajasthan, Balotra and Jalore region has found rare earth elements, as dozens of sources are suggesting, and the auction of the extraction has started. But how can India leverage its critical mineral reserves to challenge the China's dominance in the global rare earth market? India could be the third largest reserve of the rare earth minerals, but here are the problems. Firstly, most of the sites are less explored. Secondly, the auction of the sites takes time, like forever. And thirdly, even if we found much of the REEs, the refining capacity still resides in China. Of course, the solution is there. The government must invest for the explorations. Many experts suggest that the Rajasthan area has huge reserves of REEs and swift auction should be encouraged. Overall, we should focus over efficiently increasing our refining capacities. Now, the ideas over finding diverse sources of REEs is in air. We should not be dependent only over China. Must diversify, like importing from Vietnam, Russia, or maybe Greenland, South Africa or Australia. These countries have notable reserves. Of course, not as much as China. But I have an interesting news. As China has put cuts over the export of rare earth elements, these action must be a double-edged sword. As China was exporting these elements to other countries, its companies were gaining exports and gaining money from there. But as China strikes at other countries by showing its REEs monopoly, it is a double-edged sword, as the export have fallen down and there must be any interesting news coming out further. But now I would like to come on the threats from the West regarding 500% tariffs. Donald Trump and Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, are threatening India, China and Brazil that if they do not convince Russian President Putin to stop the Russian-Ukraine war, which according to them is being funded by India, China and Brazil, as these buy the Russian oil, they are going to hit our economies. You can also listen from US Senator, a man very close to Donald Trump. The statement...
Here's what I would tell China, India, and Brazil. If you keep buying cheap Russian oil to allow this war to continue, we're going to tariff the hell out of you and we're going to crush your economy, because what you're doing is blood money. You're buying cheap Russian oil at the expense of the world, and President Trump is tired.
The ground, according to them, is very clear. Stop the war to flourish. And they have also issued a 50 days ultimatum. But Dr. S.Jaishankar reply to this is perfect. I will always recommend you to follow his statements. He is a man of wisdom and his diplomacy is excellent. So he condemns these Western countries of having double standards. One way, you are saying us to not buy the Russian oil, or we will put sanctions on you, we will put tariffs on you, and you themselves are buying it. Yes, this is absolutely clear that European countries cannot stay without the Russian oil. You may also see the statement by the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ranbir Jaiswal.
Articulation. We have seen reports on the subject and are closely following the developments. Let me reiterate, and I've said this in the past as well, securing energy needs of our people is understandably an overriding priority for us. In this endeavor, we are guided by what is there on offer in the markets, as also by the prevailing global circumstances. We would particularly caution against any double standards on the matter.
Brilliant reply, I would say. This was very important for these Western countries. But you may also ask me about the US-India trade deal. I will say maybe forget it, because there is no certainty. There have been 4-5 meetings, no conclusion. I will not be surprised if Trump decides to put tariffs on us even after the talks. And even after the ultimatum, maybe decide not to put tariffs on us, because this man's credibility is under questions. But as for European countries, I see they seem very clear this time. They have put sanctions on our second largest oil refinery, the Vadinar oil refinery, because it had almost 49% Russian stakes, their company Rosneft, and Rosneft has condemned this act of their. Also, India's official stance, as you can see, that highlights that UN has the rights to put sanctions and only UN should do this. And these are just double standards. Here I bet, and many geopolitical experts are agreeing and confirming that if India and China were close out of their conflicts, West could not be so confident on challenging us. Maybe we could form an alliance or an Asia free trade agreement or whatnot. But this is a harsh reality that there was an if in my statement if India and China were close. And West is still there to challenge us, and there will be further updates on these issues which will bring me back. This is Vibhor signing off. Thank you.